The process that we run when it comes to selling a company is a banker process, not a business broker process. And there are very distinct differences between the two. One of the things we hear so often, I don't want to leave money on the table. And the only way to do that is you actually just pause, chill, take a look at the company, and you optimize every single function in order to have that insurance policy that you're not leaving any money on the table.
Chris Shipferling,
Growth Advisor,
founding partner.
There's a misconception that people have where someone that is just running their sell side process, all they focus on is operations and finance. That's it. And that's just it's not the case here. So we're going to sit down and go, you are 15 million today. You have to get to 25 million to achieve your goal. That's a $10 million jump. That's big. So how are we going to do it?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the High Performance CEO Show, your exclusive insight into the strategies and success habits of the world's top CEOs. I'm your host, Sebastian Schieke, entrepreneur, mentor, and business angel. Prepare to grow your business, enhance your leadership skills, and thrive in today's world. Let's dive in. Today, I'm talking to Chris Shipferling, which is partner at GW Advisors, which is a digital investment bank that focuses on optimizing the business sale process. So we'll talk a lot about selling a business, but of course, before we can sell a business, we have to grow a business to a decent size to make it worth the effort and going through the process. And I think Chris is the man for growing businesses beyond 8 figures. So Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sebastian. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, in our pre-call, we talked about NFL, and at the time we record this, there are games in Frankfurt. Pretty amazing experience, lots of stuff happening in town. And unfortunately, there are a couple of million people requested a ticket and only 50, 60,000 fit into a stadium. So yeah. I wasn't that lucky. Right. But it's still a lot of fun watching the games in Frankfurt. Yeah. There's a great atmosphere, and I mean, that's awesome. If the time difference wouldn't be that big, I mean, you said we might have our own NFL team at some point, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We were just chatting about that. If there's already lots of conversation happening that London may get a team. Jacksonville Jaguars, as I was saying, shout out to any Jacksonville Jaguar fans, but unfortunately that town has not been as highly supportive with their team over the past several years. And so there's been a lot of, in Jacksonville, I don't know if this is actually true. It's either stayed the same population or it's shrunk in population. And so, yeah, there's a lot of talk about moving that team in particular over to London, because just like with Frankfurt, just like with Munich last year, anytime the NFL had a chance to go to Europe, it crushed, to your point. Like everybody wanted to go see them play. I don't think that's something that would die off. I think that's something that would stick. You would actually get a real strong fan base over in Europe, especially if you only have like one team, even in London or in Germany. Yeah, you'd have an entire country migrating towards that one team. So yeah, NFL, they like money.
Awesome. Hey, but today we want to talk about business, and tell us, what is a digital investment bank?
Yeah, digital investment bank is really just an acute or a short way to say, hey, look, we run the process that we run when it comes to selling a company is a banker process, not a business broker process. And there are very distinct differences between the two. And so, when we say digital investment bank, really what we're saying is we are focused heavily on digitally minded or digital first businesses, right? So those are consumer product companies that have led with direct to consumer, have led with marketplace, versus your traditional kind of B2B type of consumer products, or your traditional, retail, wholesale consumer product company. So for us, it's a founder owner that has, I'd say a massive leg up when it comes to their company digitally, right? So they're, like I said, digital marketing is extremely important. Reaching the consumer through digital means is very important. And investing in AI, we actually have a company right now, the founder owner with 13 employees, she has encouraged every single one of her employees to find ways to make their business more efficient through AI. That's really what I mean. So, it's a bit of it can be a little misleading saying digital investment bank because you think it's about us. I mean, it's kind of that way. We're not in some big building in the middle of Manhattan, but
it sounds like a virtual investment bank to me.
That's right. Maybe the copy needs to change, but really what we mean at its core is if you're a founder owner that has built a business, a really good, successful, high growth business in consumer products, and you're looking to go through a highly optimized process, that's what we provide for you. We provide a very much a highly optimized process, a sophisticated process where a lot of these consumer product businesses, it's not within reach. And what I mean by that is when you're a $15, $20 million company and you go off to, say, a investment bank that has done a lot of deals inside of consumer products, let's just say, they call them tombstones in our world, but basically showing off all of the deals and transactions that they've done. And you see some really big brands on there and you go, I want you to sell my company. Well, what happens usually is a bigger figure in the company will sell you on the company and then will very quickly, because you're too small, hand you off to a junior to run the process.
Sure. Yeah.
The other avenue is a business broker, which, let's be frank, that really doesn't take a lot of skill. It doesn't take a lot of acumen. It's a little bit like the barrier of entry is very low. I'll leave it there so I don't sound so disparaging. Almost anybody can be a business broker, right? But to really go and take a business to a strong, sophisticated process, that takes a level of background and experience that is just wildly different. So for us, we give those lower middle market, those businesses that are 15, 20 million, 10, 15, 20, 30, 35 million, we give them that option where it's harder to find.
And I understood you also add value to the process in terms of consulting, in terms of various processes which help companies to basically reach that level where they can be sold, right?
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, the way that we describe it is it's a lot like someone who has all the answers to a test. Yeah. You want to talk to that person, right? Especially if the test is extremely important. Well, you want to know what they know, and then we deploy what we know into the company to then scale and grow and make sure that there's very specific details that are either in place or that are being worked on that we know. Big money, private equity, family offices, corporate strategic desks, they want to see these things in a business.
Yes. So how long does the process take? And what are the major steps, when you engage with a consumer product company?
Great question. It's all different. And I have to say that as a disclaimer, it's all very much customized and tailored, but look, if I were to condense it and try and kind of walk you through a standard process, Sebastian, you and I, if you had a business that was, let's say it's 15 million and you've got 3 million of EBITDA and you're saying, hey, I think it's time. I've got a really good company. I've brought it as far as I think I can bring it. I want to sell the business, but at the same time, I actually am looking for something a little bit more grandiose, a little bit bigger. With the exit. So, I know I could probably go out and get about 15 to 18 million now, but, I'm really looking for, 30 million for the exit, right? Or 50 million for the exit. So someone comes to us like that, the process usually is, hey, look, we got to do, we have to do an analysis of where the company is today. Like where in this most granular level, right? In this most detailed form, where do you currently sit as a business, going through every function of the company? There's a misconception that people have where, someone that is just, running their sell side process, all they focus on is operations and finance. That's it. And that's just it's not the case here. So we've got to go into marketing. We've got to go into HR. We've got to go into legal and IP, finance, operations, your sales channels, and really understand where's the business. Then we break it down and we create a full analysis of where the business now needs to be in order to achieve your goals. So that takes about, when we get involved, that takes about 2 months. Then we have an execution period, right? So that's phase 2 for us. During that time, all we're doing is we are executing on all the recommendations that we have given in the analysis period. Because really in the analysis period, to break it down the most business-minded terms as I can, we've done a SWOT analysis on every single function. Yeah. And so we're focusing in on the weaknesses and the threats and the opportunities, and we're trying to protect the strengths in execution. So what that's going to do is create level of scale and growth for the business across sales and marketing channels. We're going to tighten up and optimize operations. We're going to go in and make sure that we have clean data and clean metrics and financials, but more importantly, just clean data in general, right? We do a lot with business intelligence. We do a lot with attribution software specifically for digital marketing. And then we're going to go and protect the company through legal and IP to make sure we've got all of our trademarks across the globe. We've got utility patents that are completely locked up, any type of work that needs to be done. And then there's consumer products. So you're working in product. And for us, having that product roadmap and that view of where the company is going to achieve its goals and its revenue goals, that's extremely important. So we are spending, that usually can take anywhere between, it really depends on the goal, right? Because at that point, forecasting, projecting the numbers is super important, right? So we're going to sit down and go, you are 15 million today. You have to get to 25 million to achieve your goal. That's a $10 million jump. That's big. So how are we going to do it?
Significant. Yeah.
Here are the products. Here's the sales channels. Here's the investment. Here's the inventory. You get my point. And so that, whatever, let's just assume that's going to take six months. So we've got 8 months. And then from there, it really is about when is that intersection going to hit with, will the market pay what I want them to pay, right? And my goals. And what does the market actually think about this, right? When you hit that intersection, then you're past what we would consider phase 3, which is more just a maintenance phase. We're more advisors to the company, right? Kind of sitting in the C-suite with the founder owner, advising on a monthly basis, metrics and KPIs and et cetera, et cetera. Phase 4 for us is M&A. M&A can take anywhere between, at the very, very least, 6 months to 12 months. And the reason why it takes so long is just because it is a very complex process and you're putting the business in front of lots of people and you're asking someone to pay a very large amount of money. And so, that just doesn't happen like raise my hand and I'll take it. It's not an auction per se, it's a lot of sales and marketing. It's a lot of finesse. So all in all, I would say, look, if I were to add up all of those months, you're looking at about 18 to 24 months for an owner that has come to you and said, hey, I've got a goal. I want to grow bigger. And let's take the time to optimize the business. Let's not leave, one of the things we hear so often, I don't want to leave money on the table. And the only way to do that is you actually just pause, chill, take a look at the company, and you optimize every single function in order to have that insurance policy that you're not leaving any money on the table.
So when you look at your clients, what is growing 10 million in this short period of time is quite a big leap, as you said, right?
Yeah.
What is the biggest challenge many of them face? Is it more strategic, tactical thing, or is it also mindset that, hey, such a big jump, I'm not able to accomplish in this short period of time? Where do you need to provide most advice?
Most challenge, if I were to really I'm going to make it as simple as possible for the sake of anybody listening. Where am I going with the product? So product development tends to be a weakness. When am I developing this product? Where is it going to sell? How am I going to leverage my direct-to-consumer website and optimize it for stronger LTV and lower CAC? CAC is the biggest conversation, the cost to acquire the consumer, biggest conversation right now. And how am I going to fund the inventory to get there? Those are usually where we focus a lot of time. And so for us, we're spending a lot of our efforts in outlining and really force ranking or prioritizing the sales channels and acquisition channels. We spend a lot of time there. And then, of course, we've got lots of capital inroads to help fund the inventory. Right now we're in the process of helping secure a line of credit for one of our clients, upwards of about $2 million, so she can fund growth for the next 2 years, or a year, excuse me. So that's wildly important.
Especially in those times where investments are a bit, many investors are very concerned and not putting out too much cash based on the economy. So, I operate in the startup phase, and as a business angel, and I have a lot of startups. They really looking for money at the moment, and many business angels are very, they really hold back and don't spend all the cash they have. Yeah, so I can imagine that funding the inventory is a big challenge, but also, as you said, cost of acquisition of clients. Basically, spending marketing dollars for ads, for reach. Where do you see trends in this space? There's so much happening in the digital marketing space. For the consumer world.
Trends are a great question. Couple things. Number one, marketing mix is becoming wildly important. You can no longer just be a company who relies on Meta to sell your product for you and to the consumer. Yeah. You've got to find, TikTok is obviously up and coming. That's becoming a really, really big sales channel. Acquisition and sales channel, just because, they're really creating their own marketplace and going to start giving Amazon a real run for their money when it comes to marketing and even advertising. So marketing mix is that's becoming more of the, how do I resolve my CAC issue? Well, you've got to start finding consumers in different places to start bringing some level of relief to the CAC, right? Affiliate, obviously influencer, but influencer is very crowded. So now it's becoming where influencers, it's a lot like investing in crypto 3 years ago, or even today, where I don't want to say it's easy, but there's a new coin that just launched, and I know it's going to launch and it's going to come out at 4 cents, and I'm probably going to be able to double my money or triple or quadruple and get out really quick, or as they call it, I think scalping or whatever it's called. And so that way of trading is very easy, but over time it will become very, very hard. Influencers are the same way. It was very easy, where you could it was not even that calculated. It was just like, hey, I'm going to throw my product out to a lot of people. And because influencers were so new, it wasn't that costly. And it was a really great way to reach a lot of people, quote unquote, organically or through affiliate. And now it's hard. It's very calculated. The cost to get influencers have gone up. So you got to be really cautious and careful and strategic in the way you approach it. But that's one trend, marketing mix. And I think the other way is just, how do I optimize my business? Going back to the conversation that, or the comment that I made earlier, where we've got a founder owner who is encouraging all of her employees, find ways to optimize your time, to arbitrage your time through AI, and arbitrage the way that we can get to a goal much faster through AI. Have AI do a lot of the work to dig into the company and really tell us what's happening with the business. And look, where that's going, my brother-in-law is huge. I think we talked about this in our other call. My brother-in-law is huge into the AI world now and SEO and et cetera. And he was just even texting me yesterday saying, he kind of went out bold and said he thinks SEO is going to be dead in the next 2 years. And the way that, because AI is effectively writing the content now, and it's going to do it so much better and faster, that the way you actually now approach being a brand who had an SEO strategy is through community and building real strong community. So that's a little bit of a pivot, but again, these are trends that we're starting to feel and we're starting to see. We've got a client right now who has done an amazing job at building their organic brand, and it's paying off in spades. They have, a real community of raving fans who are selling other customers on the brand. That's an incredible base to start from. So, Yeah, I'd say that's kind of the marketing mix is a trend. I'd say, when it comes to capital, to your point, yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a tightening. There's been a slowdown. I mean, just for our client who we're securing a line of credit for, my index finger hurt from how much scrolling I had to do on the mouse with all the questions that they had about the business, and we already provided a ton of information. So it's a lot of crossing T's, dotting I's, and being extremely meticulous and diligent. Whereas 3 years ago, I think the only question 3 years ago was, do you breathe? Do you breathe oxygen? Yes, I do. Great. Here's money. It was very easy, very fast, and unfortunately, careless and reckless money that flowed into the globe. So yeah, I'd say from that's probably the biggest conversation that's occurring in consumer products, digital. There's a lot of direct to consumer brands that are struggling. They've reached a plateau with their D2C, and they're going, well, where do I go next? And omni-channel is 100% becoming the conversation. So,
what about the team? So when you enter an organization, you work with them for 2 years, you can't hide this process from the staff, right? I mean, they are obviously involved. Do you see any challenges? Are they often concerned about the sale process? How do you take them on the journey?
That's a great question. I mean, look, number one, I'd say, if I'm looking at my current client base, all of them have been fairly forthright with their employees. Mm-hmm. Like, here's why we've hired these guys. Here's what we're doing. We do have one instance where several employees don't know, and so it's really
difficult.
Yes, but it's masked more as these guys are advisors to help us set up for an eventual sale sometime down the road, right? And so, because a lot of the work that we're doing, whether it's, if it's employee facing, we're asking for just a lot of information, and we're asking specifically about their function and how, what is their day-to-day? What do they do within that function? Where do they see the challenges? Where do they see the weaknesses and opportunities, et cetera? So it's not a lot. There's zero discussion about M&A at all with any of the employees. The only discussion we're having about M&A is with the founder owner. And so it tends to make people kind of forget, to even look into what we're doing here, because we're having so many business related discussions and growth discussions. But yeah, it can be challenging.
When you have a 7-figure company and you say, okay, we want to, or maybe even 6-figure, and they have this clear goal to, don't leave any money on the table, as you said. What is a realistic growth for this 2 years period you work with companies? I mean, you mentioned 10 million. Is this a bulk figure from 20 to 30, or what do you say? This is realistic, and this is definitely out of scope.
I hate to use this as a default, but it really is company by company, because if they've got a defendable product roadmap, let's go back to the things that pull the levers. That's probably a better way to approach the answer. If they're 15 million, has it only been through one channel? And have they tried to go into any other channels at all? Have they attempted to go into Amazon? Have they attempted to go and have a real strategy with TikTok? Have they been in retail yet? Have they explored international distribution? Well, going from 15 to 25 when you've done none of those things, that's a very easy track, quote unquote. I'll leave that one in air quotes for easy. Everything's hard. The other thing I'll say too is it's a lot easier to go from, to jump in revenue in the lower middle market than someone who's 75 million trying to go to 100 million. Because there's still a lot at that point. You just really have not hit market share that you haven't hit any type of critical mass at all. There's a guy that I listen to, Alex Hermosi. I read his books. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him or not.
Oh, of course. I mean, he's a well-known figure in the industry.
He is,
100 million offer, 100 million lead
I just
books.
got done listening to 100 million leads.
Amazing books,
Yeah, it's a great book. But, he said something in the book, and he goes, listen, man, you think as a small business owner that you've reached everybody. Like, you just have this mindset that you think you've reached a lot more people than you really have. You've got to realize you're just a tiny, he didn't say it like this, but he pretty much was like, you're a tiny little ant. Like, you haven't reached everybody. There's 7 billion people in the world, man. Like, give me a break. And so, that's also what you run into when it comes to, when founder owners are growing so significantly. It's just the fact that they just haven't done the right things yet to put their product in front of people. And so it's about opening up new acquisition channels and sales channels. Where you start to see slow growth and really hard growth. Yeah, I mean, everything has a product life cycle in consumer products. I mean, when you read the textbooks and product development 101, you've got the bell curve, right, of the product life cycle. And so where you start to run into trouble is when you hit over the bell curve, right, where you've got the pioneers, and then it kind of hits, I would call, let's just use the term critical mass, right? When you start to hit here and you don't have a plan to replace or iterate or design better, or you don't have any type of product pipeline, you start to run into a little bit of trouble. Or you've designed something so niche that it truly only can reach a certain amount of people. Then you're running into some growth problems. So, these are all things that we not only, we explore all of these things in very, very granular detail in phase 1. We're digging into all of these potential problems of growth and really helping define with the business owner, are your goals realistic or not? Because that's really important. And the only way we're going to know if those goals are realistic is we've got to get into the information, we've got to get into the data, and we've got to get much deeper than just, I hate to say it, but depending on what the founder owner has told us, we've got to really see the information to determine. But you got to that's where it becomes
talk
customized.
To the team, and often you really have to get to different views from different people from the organization, not only from the owner, which is sometimes it is biased. I mean, we all have our black box and see the world through our eyes, and then it's good sharing questions and getting input from other sources, to get a complete picture. And what you said, I mean, thinking that we reached everyone in the market, this is also a mindset topic. We think that no one else is available, but as you said, I mean, 7 billion people on the planet. And,
a lot of people, man.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, and the other thing that a lot of founder owners don't know, just because they either they don't have the experience to go through it, or they don't have the access to market share data.
Yeah.
So that also helps to really frame out where are you. So for instance, if someone's selling, a little widget and they're just so optimistic about it and they want to sell it to everybody, but then you go out and you do market research and you realize that, that widget only has a 10 million ceiling and you've taken 5 million of it. Yeah, it's time to really start thinking about the next widget that's going to come, because you're probably tapped out. You know what I mean? So you just start to really apply these things in the business. And by the way, all of what we do with the founder owner, we're going to take all this information and we're putting it into a memo, an OM, offering memorandum, and we're handing this off to a potential buyer because we now really understand the information. That's the other big benefit that we've been trying to talk through founder owners about, which is, look, there's a big difference with someone who's been involved in your company for 12 months versus just a month putting some information together and going out and trying to sell. If you forced me right now to go sell one of our clients' businesses, I don't need an OM. I don't need notes. I can talk like the founder owner. And I can share both the weaknesses and the strengths, the opportunities, and I can tell them the 5 reasons why you, private equity, you need to buy this company. I can tell you that right now. That's a huge advantage when it comes to selling the business. So anyways, just wanted to note that. My business partner and I had a long conversation about that last night.
No, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, in the beginning, it might sound better for the seller. Hey, there's a short process, 1 to 2 months, and they take my company and sell it. But the chances of finding a buyer which really fits and pays premium is much higher working with someone like you, who supports them through a longer period of time, brings the company on another level, and then gets what they want. So it's an investment they have to take, but it's worth in the long run. I mean, I can clearly see this.
That's right. And that's our constant struggle is how do you take everything that I just said and put it into a landing page and put it above the fold so people get it right away. But you're
not saying you acquire your clients with meta ads and landing pages.
Yeah, that is definitely not an efficient way for us to get clients. That's for sure. Yeah, that is for sure. But anyways, no, that you're right. I mean,
how do you reach out? What's your primary channel of acquisition?
Yeah, we do a lot of partnerships, getting to know guys like yourself, and really once they understand what we do, they know who to refer. And I spend a lot of time with our partners on really understanding, like not just saying, okay, well, what do you do? And now I'm just going to shotgun, pellet 100 people to you. And out of that 100, 2 people might be your client. I really want to understand what it is that you do. They really get to know what it is that we do, the types of clients we like to work with. And then through that, we've gotten really great referrals, but we nurture our partnerships genuinely. It's not just like, hey, send people our way and I'll write you a check. Here's my referral, percentage. It just that's too transactional. We spend a lot of time and we choose our partners wisely. Like I don't have 20 email marketing partners. I've got like 1, maybe 2. I don't have, 10 digital marketing partners. I've got 2, maybe 3 at most, and a lot of it has to do with fit. A lot of it has to do with, are they the right digital marketing firm? Are they the right service provider for this category? Do they have a lot of experience in this category? With the work that you do, I'm going to say some things that may not make sense, but bear with me. But in your work, just specifically AI, let's just say you needed an email marketing guy who's only done work in, commercial real estate. Well, you're going to be like, okay, I know you understand the mechanics of like email and the utility of email, but man, I need to shortcut. I need someone who really gets my customer, my client, and I can shortcut me having to spend a lot of time talking to you about my customer and what's the right, persona and avatar to not only design what's the right content. You get my point. So we truly we have a bench of resources that I would say, we took our time to really select, and those have also been very reciprocal in terms of referral. We do cold email as well. We try and be what I would call very thoughtful about cold email. In our world, it's hard to just say, there's a lot of business brokers out there and even banks that are doing cold outreach, and they all kind of say the same thing. So we try and take a little bit of a different approach where we're not trying to just be a template, if that makes any sense.
Makes complete sense. Yeah. Chris, it's been an amazing conversation. I think I learned a lot, and so most likely our listeners. Is there anything you like to share before we wrap up? Maybe a funny story from one of the last projects, or a big fuck up. I mean, we also talk about failures, not only success.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of interesting fuck ups. One probably was the most substantial, where the business owner, we did a lot of work and diligence on the business, but then when we really got into the numbers, we started to see some things that didn't make any sense. And then we really started to see some things like a sweater, it started to unravel, right?
Yeah.
And then come to find out, we had a big meeting with their bookkeeper, and we all realized during that meeting, including the business owner, that 4 million of his EBITDA wasn't real. That was interesting to say the least. So that's one. I'd say, look, just in general, in the spirit of what we've discussed today, I'd say, being a consumer products company in 2023 going into 24, the planning for it, the forecasting, the projecting, the details, the strategy, it's really hard. And we're also highly altruistic, and we really mean that. We love working with founder owners. You're an angel investor with startups. You have a passion for it. We have a passion for founder owners who are just, they've got a good company, they've got good brand, they've got good product, they just need some help when it comes to strategic resources and strategic thinking. Anybody who's listening, by all means, just reach out. Just let's have a conversation. There is no pitching. We don't do pitching. That's completely opposite. Now, you might say, well, how do you actually gain people, converts? And how do you convert people? The reality is when you're helpful and you're really just there to be as much of a strong utility for somebody, all that conversion just naturally happens. It really does. Exactly. I've been in sales my entire career, and that is 100% the best way, in my opinion, to approach sales is value, value, value. And so we're here to help, even if you never, ever become our client. We love at least getting you into the right hands, right resources. We have other M&A partners. There are people who come to us. We're not a catch-all shop. We're not volume. So we're not here to just, hey, I want 20 deals tomorrow. It's a fit, right timing, right category. We've got at least 3 other M&A partners that we work with on a regular basis. So anyways, that's probably, I've got a lot of other stories, but that's probably for a beer sometime in Frankfurt and offline.
Would love to. Oh no, I'll keep you up on that.
That's right.
All right, Chris. Hey, thank you so much for your time today. It's been amazing and a lot to share. And hey, let's keep fingers crossed for Sunday for the next NFL game in Frankfurt. And
that's right.
I hope I will have you back on the podcast here in a couple of months, maybe awesome. For an update. Yeah,
that'd be great. Maybe we can do an update, 2024 update. What's going on in the market? Hopefully, it's all bullish and no bears. All the bears go away.
It's only one direction.
That's right.
Thanks a lot, man.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning into the High Performance CEO Show. I'm your host, Sebastian Schieke, and it's been a pleasure serving you. Please subscribe to our show on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Your support helps us reach more listeners and create a bigger impact. Check out our website, sebastianschieke.com, for additional resources. Until next time, be bold, be exceptional, be outstanding, be a leader.